Solomon, the most famous king in biblical history, stands as a symbol of wisdom, power, and prosperity. Yet behind the splendor of his throne and his remarkable achievements lies a dark tale, a story of desire and downfall. A magnificent palace with 700 wives and 300 concubines, where each marriage was tied to a diplomatic treaty, but also carried latent dangers. From the enigmatic Egyptian princesses to women from Moab, Ammon, and Sidon, they formed a diverse cultural mosaic full of conflicts. Blessed by God with unparalleled wisdom, Solomon used it to transform Israel into a glorious empire, overflowing with wealth and thriving trade. Yet amidst such abundance, he fell into the snare of worldly passions. His wives brought not only beauty and allure, but also foreign deities that shook the faith of a king once revered by the entire nation. Were Solomon's decisions the root of the collapse not only of himself, but also of the kingdom of Israel? Behind the brilliance of the palace were political struggles, fragile alliances, and spiritual corruption that Solomon could not overcome. His story serves not only as a lesson on power and wisdom, but also as a warning against temptations that can drive a great man into the abyss. In this video, we'll delve into Solomon's journey from the heights of glory to the depths of failure. What elements led to his downfall? And after his death, how did Israel face the consequences? Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell to explore compelling Bible stories and learn valuable lessons about faith and history with us. Let's go back to 990 BCE to the ancient city of Jerusalem, where a remarkable prince was born, Solomon, a name that means bringer of peace and friend of God. But behind his birth lies a tearful and mysterious story. Solomon was the outcome of the relationship between Bathsheba and King David, the shepherd hero who defeated the giant Goliath, as everyone knows. Yet this tale begins with a dark tragedy. Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, a brave and loyal warrior, was drawn into an adulterous affair with David. In a desperate attempt to conceal his sin, David orchestrated Uriah's death on the battlefield, ordering his troops to retreat and leave Uriah to face the enemy alone. This betrayal did not escape God's notice. David's actions resulted in a divine judgment, the death of the first child born to him and Bathsheba. However, God, while delivering stern judgment, also displayed profound mercy. Through David's repentance and plea for forgiveness, God forgave him and bestowed blessings. Out of that pain, Solomon was born, symbolizing reconciliation between heaven and earth, bringing new hope and peace to Israel. The young Prince Solomon grew up under the guidance of a remarkable man, the prophet Nathan, a wise and enigmatic figure. As King David poured his efforts into ruling the kingdom, Nathan became Solomon's spiritual mentor, imparting profound lessons and divine prophecies. Through Nathan's discerning eyes, he saw in Solomon not just a promising young prince, but also a man with a grand mission. With calmness and profound insight, Nathan recognized the spark of wisdom burning brightly in Solomon's soul, a conviction of the greatness God had destined for him. However, Nathan also knew that Solomon's path was far from smooth. Although David's son Solomon was not the eldest and thus not the only one entitled to the throne, in Nathan's heart a bold plan took shape, for he was not only a witness to key historical events but also held the dark secret of the adultery between David and Bathsheba, Solomon's mother. Nathan realized that if he skillfully used this relationship, he could ensure Solomon's rightful claim to the throne. The prophet subtly sowed the seed in David's heart, suggesting that Solomon was the one chosen by God to inherit the kingdom. As Nathan shared his prophecies and powerful visions, David gradually grew convinced, eventually recognizing that his youngest son might be the key to Israel's future prosperity. As David's death loomed, he reluctantly acknowledged Solomon as his successor. Despite being appointed as the heir, young Solomon, only 15 years old, understood that the throne he inherited was fraught with immense danger and uncertainty. David's warning about the potential rebellion from his brothers still echoed in Solomon's thoughts, urging him to remain alert and address any hidden threats. With an unyielding resolve, Solomon initiated a series of purges to solidify his authority and safeguard the kingdom from those who sought to betray him. Joab, the loyal military commander of King David who had backed Adonijah in the power struggle, became one of the first casualties of Solomon's ruthless purging. This decisive action made it clear that no one, not even those closest to David, could escape the wrath of Solomon's justice. After disposing of Joab, Solomon moved to eliminate Adonijah, David's son, putting an end to any possibility of a rebellion against his reign. Solomon, however, understood that his work was far from finished. He knew that only through internal stability and military strength could he firmly secure his throne. Despite his young age, Solomon demonstrated exceptional foresight, as he not only secured his rule, but also expanded Israel's international influence. His marriage to the daughter of Pharaoh of Egypt forged a powerful alliance between the two nations. However, Solomon soon found himself trapped by the very alliances he sought to build through political marriages. Each marriage, meant to solidify his power, brought with it unforeseen challenges, both political and spiritual, that would haunt him in the years to come. One night, as Solomon slept, God appeared to him in a dream and offered him anything he desired. "Ask for anything you want, and I will give it to you." With a humble heart, Solomon, fully aware of his monumental responsibility, chose not to ask for material riches or power, but for wisdom. He instead requested something far more crucial for a leader. "Grant your servant a wise and understanding heart to govern your people and discern between good and evil. Who can govern this vast people of yours?" 1 Kings 3:9. God, pleased with Solomon's humility and foresight, responded favorably. God replied, "Because you asked for wisdom and discernment, and not for long life, wealth, or the death of your enemies, I will grant your request. I will give you a heart of wisdom, unmatched by anyone before or after you." When Solomon woke up from the dream, he received the priceless gift that any ruler could hope for: great wisdom and understanding directly granted by God. This divine encounter marked a major turning point in Solomon's life, allowing him to become a leader not only powerful but also compassionate and just. Solomon became a symbol of a king who ruled with wisdom and insight, a model for leaders throughout the ages. His wisdom became legendary, not just within the kingdom of Israel, but also spreading across neighboring nations, attracting leaders and people from all lands to seek his knowledge and understanding. As written in the Bible, "And all the kings of the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear the wisdom that God had put in his heart." 1 Kings 10:24. One of the clearest demonstrations of Solomon's great wisdom was the famous story of resolving the dispute between two women, each claiming to be the mother of the same child. On that day, two women with faces filled with sorrow and tears in their eyes stood before King Solomon. Each recounted her story and demanded justice. The child, unaware of the dispute, lay in the hands of one of the women. Tension and silence filled the room as the two women fiercely defended their claim to motherhood. Solomon, with the wisdom God had given him, listened attentively to each word, not hurrying to pass judgment. Then, with a sharp gaze and firm voice, Solomon ordered, "Bring me a sword, cut the living child in two, and give half to each woman." His words echoed throughout the room, causing everyone to hold their breath, terrified by the king's cruel proposal. In that moment, the true mother, whose love for her child still burned in her heart, could not bear it. She cried out in agony, "O my lord, give the living child to the other woman and do not kill it." In contrast, the false mother, devoid of real compassion, agreed to the decision to divide the child. At that moment, Solomon saw through the hearts of both women. He not only discerned the truth of motherhood, but also demonstrated wisdom beyond what any king could have imagined. With a ruling full of compassion and justice, Solomon declared, "Give the living child to this woman and do not kill it. She is the mother." Solomon's judgment not only showed his wisdom, but also illuminated his mercy and absolute fairness in protecting life and the rights of others. This story has become an eternal symbol of Solomon's wisdom and justice, a king admired not only for his power, but also for his ability to make humane and fair decisions. As a result, Solomon's wisdom continues to be honored through the ages, a model of a wise and compassionate leader. Solomon's wise judgment not only preserved the life of an innocent child, but also boldly revealed the truth behind the accusations. The boundless love of the true mother triumphed over selfishness, as she preferred to lose her child to save it, rather than witness the child's death. Meanwhile, the indifference of the impostor was clearly exposed in the light of justice. News of this extraordinary event quickly spread throughout the kingdom, sparking admiration and awe for the young, wise king. As written, "And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had rendered, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice." 1 Kings 3:28. This event was not only a clear demonstration of the divine wisdom that God had bestowed upon Solomon, but also showcased his leadership ability through understanding and compassion. This just decision strengthened the king's reputation and laid a solid foundation for his glorious reign. Under Solomon's leadership, the kingdom of Israel was not only strong, but also became known as a center of wisdom and justice. However, during this period of prosperity, the people of Israel remained tied to ancient traditions. While the glorious temple dedicated to Jehovah's name had not yet been built, they continued to offer sacrifices on temporary altars on high places, under the wide open sky, a sign of both their piety and their longing for a permanent sacred home for their God. If you find this story interesting and inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to continue exploring. And remember to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. Our journey of discovery still holds many marvelous things waiting for you. Driven by a strong faith and grand vision, Solomon initiated one of the most important projects in Israel's history, building the first temple dedicated to the Lord. However, to make this great dream a reality, he realized that domestic resources were insufficient. With his innate wisdom, Solomon decided to establish a strategic alliance with Hiram, the king of Tyre, a prosperous trading center, known for its skilled artisans and abundant resources. In the letter to Hiram, Solomon clearly outlined his intent and reasoning. "You know that because of the wars my father David faced on all sides, he could not build a temple for the name of the Lord my God, until the Lord placed all his enemies under his feet. But now the Lord my God has granted me peace on every side, and there is no enemy or disaster. Therefore I intend to build a temple for the name of the Lord, my God, as the Lord spoke to my father David when he said, 'Your son, who will sit on your throne after you, will build the temple for my name.'" 1 Kings 5:3-5 Bible. Impressed by Solomon's wisdom and vision, Hiram immediately agreed to the proposal. The king of Tyre committed to providing cedar and cypress wood from the mountains of Lebanon, along with skilled craftsmen. In return, Solomon provided food and goods, establishing a mutually beneficial exchange system. This alliance not only ensured the resources needed for the temple's construction, but also strengthened the relationship between the two kingdoms, ushering in a period of prosperity and cooperation. The construction of the temple lasted 7 years, carried out with unprecedented precision and craftsmanship. The Bible describes the temple that King Solomon built for the Lord was 60 cubits long, 20 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. He lined the interior walls with cedar from floor to ceiling, and overlaid them with pure gold, making the entire space magnificent and sacred. 1 Kings 6:2, 15:22, Bible. The ceiling was made of cedar beams and planks, while the side rooms were built 5 cubits high, creating harmony both in structure and aesthetics. The temple was not only a monumental architectural feat, but also a sacred symbol of faith and reverence for the Lord. Through the temple, Solomon affirmed Jerusalem's status as a spiritual center, a place where humans connect with God, leaving a timeless legacy reflecting his wisdom and grand vision. Solomon's vision did not stop with the building of the sacred temple. After completing the 7-year project, the king spent the next 13 years constructing his magnificent palace, a vibrant symbol of his power, wealth, and wisdom. Solomon's palace was an architectural masterpiece designed with grand halls, majestic columns, and lush gardens, reflecting the extraordinary opulence of his reign. Every detail in the palace was crafted with precision. High-quality stones perfectly cut and smoothed on both sides were used to build every structure from the large courtyard to the porticos. The expansive areas were designed not only to impress visitors, but also to assert Israel's supreme position under Solomon's leadership. The simultaneous construction of both the temple and the palace completely transformed Jerusalem's appearance, reinforcing its position as a hub of political and economic power in the region. Solomon's reputation for wisdom and wealth spread throughout the ancient world. Kings and queens from distant lands were drawn to his fame, and many made long journeys to meet this great king. One of the most notable stories is the legendary visit of the Queen of Sheba. Attracted by tales of Solomon's wisdom and wealth, the Queen of Sheba decided to embark on a bold journey to witness it firsthand. She arrived in Jerusalem with a lavish entourage, bringing many precious gifts and a series of tough questions intending to test the king. Solomon, with his innate wisdom and profound understanding, answered every question from the Queen of Sheba excellently, far exceeding her expectations. Convinced by what she witnessed, the queen said, "It is true that I heard about your deeds and wisdom in my own land, but I did not believe it until I came and saw with my own eyes that not half, but much more than what was told me. Your wisdom and goodness surpass the fame I heard." 1 Kings 10:6-7 Bible. The visit of the Queen of Sheba not only strengthened Solomon's reputation but also testified to his vast influence. However, the king's wisdom was not the only factor that made him an incredible figure in history. Solomon also stood out for his leadership abilities, strategic vision, and passion for construction, qualities that elevated both him and the Kingdom of Israel to unprecedented heights of glory and prosperity. Solomon's wealth and grandeur reached legendary levels, becoming a symbol of the unprecedented prosperity of the Kingdom of Israel. Under his reign, gold, silver, and precious stones were not only present in every corner, but became the standard of luxury. Solomon's throne, intricately crafted from ivory and covered in pure gold, was an impressive symbol of power. Prosperity spread throughout Israel, with trade flourishing and treasures seemingly endless. It is said, all the drinking vessels of King Solomon were made of gold. None were made of silver, because in Solomon's time, silver was not considered valuable. 1 Kings 10:21 Bible. However, Solomon was not only notable for his wealth, but also for his timeless wisdom and creativity. He was not just a skilled leader, but also a divinely inspired writer. His literary works, including Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs, became an eternal legacy, bringing light and understanding to every generation. In Proverbs, Solomon shares profound teachings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7 Bible. These words became a guiding principle for those seeking wisdom and spiritual guidance. In Ecclesiastes, Solomon reflects on the brevity of life and calls humanity to focus on what is most important. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For this, in the Song of Songs, Solomon expresses another aspect, praising the beauty of love and intimacy. With immortal verses, "Let me be like a seal on your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death, jealousy is as unyielding as the grave. It burns like a blazing fire, like a mighty flame." Song of Songs 8:6 Bible. This song celebrates the sacredness of love, elevating it beyond ordinary emotions to a divine gift. Thus, Solomon was not only a wealthy king or a wise philosopher, but also one who left a spiritual and intellectual legacy that transcended the test of time. His achievements and teachings are proof of God's grace, as well as mankind's potential to achieve enlightenment and truth in the midst of a turbulent and dark world. But amid the peak of glory and wisdom, Solomon made a fatal mistake, leaving a dark mark on his legacy. Contrary to God's warning, he could not resist the temptation of beauty and power, allowing his love for foreign women to lead him astray. The Bible records, he had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray. 1 Kings 11:3. These marriages not only diluted Solomon's loyalty to God, but also led him into the worship of foreign gods, breaking the sacred covenant between him and the Most High. Solomon's palace, a masterpiece of precious stones and cedar wood, was not only a symbol of power but also contained a vast harem where thousands of women from all over the world resided. The Ethiopian princesses with skin as smooth as ebony, the daughters of Pharaoh with eyes as mysterious as the flowing Nile, and women from distant lands all brought their own stories, legends, and unique cultures. They were not mere figures in the harem. Each one was a door to another world, a part of the rich tapestry Solomon wove to expand his influence and understanding. The laughter, whispers, and songs echoed through the palace halls, making it a rare cultural crossroads. Through these marriages, Solomon forged powerful political alliances, ensuring peace with neighboring kingdoms and beyond. They brought with them traditions, beliefs, and folklore, enriching the king's vast store of wisdom. Yet these political bonds also carried a danger. The influence of foreign deities and beliefs slowly eroded Solomon's loyalty to God. The story of Solomon and his immense harem is a vivid example of the contradictions within him. On one hand, unparalleled wisdom and sharp political vision. On the other, weakness in the face of temptation, leading to decisions that dimmed his former glory. The combination of light and darkness in Solomon's story serves as both a cautionary tale and a reminder that even the greatest can fall when loyalty and faith waver. The complex relationships Solomon cultivated while bolstering political power and expanding cultural influence also led to serious fractures in his kingdom. His once glorious palace, which had been filled with praise and admiration, became a battleground of intrigue and jealousy. Each favor granted by Solomon was a spark for covert struggles, as his wives and concubines constantly sought his special attention. In the lavishly decorated hallways, whispers and secret plots slowly eroded the stability of the royal court. The cultural diversity brought by Solomon's international marriages not only enriched his reign but also brought foreign beliefs into the heart of Jerusalem. Statues of Ashtoreth, Baal, and Chemosh began to appear in high places, challenging the monotheistic faith of Israel. Solomon, the one who once built a glorious temple to honor the God of Israel, now builds altars to Ashtoreth, Milcom, and Molech, deities despised by neighboring nations. The Bible describes that the worship of these gods clouded Solomon's judgment and led him astray from the divine wisdom God had granted him. God's anger was kindled at Solomon's waywardness. In a stern rebuke, God declared, "Because this is your attitude and you have not kept my covenant and my decrees which I commanded you, I will certainly tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your subordinates." In 1 Kings 11:11. These words, like thunder, heralded a heartbreaking fate. The once united and prosperous kingdom under Solomon would be divided after his death. The seeds of division quickly sprouted. From within, factions and enemies began to rise. Among them, Jeroboam, one of Solomon's servants, was prophesied by the prophet Ahijah to rule over 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel. The prophecy of Ahijah echoed, "Take 10 pieces for yourself, for this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. See, I will tear the kingdom out of Solomon's hand and give you 10 tribes." 1 Kings 11:31. Jeroboam, destined for power, began plotting against the throne, while external enemies took advantage of the situation to pressure the weakening kingdom. Solomon's reign, once a symbol of wisdom and prosperity, now faced the threat of collapse due to the very mistakes he had made. The warning in Proverbs, believed to be by Solomon himself, echoed ominously. "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." Proverbs 14:12. What Solomon left behind was not only a divided kingdom, but also a valuable lesson for future generations, that even the wisest and most powerful can easily fall if they do not maintain faith and the principles of God. In his final days, Solomon, amidst inner turmoil, found a glimmer of the wisdom he had once been granted. In a moment of deep regret, the wise king realized the vanity of worldly passions and the worship of foreign gods. In repentance, he poured his heart into the book of Ecclesiastes, a work that was both a bitter confession and a profound message for future generations. The words in it not only contained the frustration, but also a call to awakening. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Ecclesiastes 1:2. In repentance, he poured his heart into the book of Ecclesiastes, a work that was both a bitter confession and a profound message for future generations. The words in it not only contained the frustration, but also a call to awakening. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Ecclesiastes 1:2. His declaration that only God is the true meaning of life resounded through the ages, like a guiding light in the darkness of being lost. Yet Solomon's life closed in contradiction. After 40 years of reign, he died, leaving behind a kingdom full of glorious legacies, but also divided. His son Rehoboam ascended the throne, facing a kingdom that showed signs of disintegration, signaling a future fraught with instability. Solomon's death marked the end of a glorious era in Israel's history, but it also marked the beginning of inevitable divisions. However, Solomon's legacy lay not only in his great works or renowned wealth, but also in the lessons he left through his own life. The pages of Ecclesiastes reflect a profound awakening to the true value of life. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, at Ecclesiastes 12:13. Through his final repentance, Solomon became not only a symbol of wisdom, but also a reminder for all generations that departing from God leads to emptiness and instability, but returning to him brings peace and true meaning. Alongside the story recorded in the Bible, Solomon's life is also shrouded in rich legends found in apocryphal texts, especially the Testament of Solomon. One particularly notable detail in these stories is the appearance of Solomon's ring, a mystical item believed to have been given to him by the archangel Michael. This ring was not only a symbol of power, but was also believed to possess supernatural abilities, allowing Solomon to summon, control, and banish demonic spirits. According to legend, Solomon used the ring to compel demons to serve him in construction work, including completing the Temple of Jerusalem. The stories surrounding the magical ring not only enhance the image of Solomon, but also reflect humanity's fascination with supernatural power. They depict Solomon as not only wise, but also possessing legendary powers beyond the reach of mere mortals. However, when viewed in the cultural and religious context, these legends serve as a profound metaphor for the struggle between wisdom, power, and temptation, recurring themes throughout Solomon's life. In addition to his supernatural abilities, Solomon was greatly influenced by his mother, Bathsheba, a woman who played a pivotal role in shaping the dynasty and Solomon's character. Bathsheba was not only a devoted mother, but also a counselor, helping instill wisdom and discernment in Solomon during his formative years. However, her own story is filled with contradictions. Bathsheba had been at the center of a controversial affair with King David, Solomon's father, a story that exposed the darker aspects of power and desire. It was these temptations that sowed the seeds of the challenges Solomon would face throughout his life. Thus, we have explored the life of King Solomon, one marked by extraordinary wisdom, legendary power, and the struggles with temptation and faith. His story is not just a historical lesson, but a powerful warning for all of us, that no matter how great our power, wisdom, or talent, keeping God at the center of our lives is what brings true meaning and peace. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next inspiring content, and leave a comment below with your thoughts on Solomon's life and lessons. We would love to hear from you. Let's learn from the past, keep our faith strong in God, and seek true meaning in our lives. Thank God for His guidance and mercy. See you in the next video. May God bless us all.